I don't know how big that chip is, but I think it's elephant size, like Dumbo the elephant size. That's how big this chip is on his shoulder right now. He is telling people he's not. He's just like they made a mistake. Like this is the Cardoso. I'm going to show you. Bleep bleep bleeps.
Yeah, and he'll tell you that too.
Well, we have a whole lot of baseball to talk about this week, guys, because, well, the season is fully in foot. Everybody has played at least one game in the IBL of that 42 game schedule. Welcome back to the IBL Inside Pitch. He's Braden, he's Neil, I'm Mark, and well, guys, let's go like Drake and just start from the bottom. We have the power rankings that we're going to use as kind of a guide of a team by team analysis of how we're going to go about this. And well, we got to start on the bottom with the Guelph Royals, 0-2 so far this season, and I think there's a couple of stats that really stick out to me. First of all, the biggest one, just one run in those two games, getting outscored 15-1. Andy Leader 1 for 7. Liam Wilson 0 for 5, though he was hit by a pitch a couple of times. Yeah, the a little bit more to be desired from the Guelph Royals, and as I said in a previous edition of this podcast, they're kind of in that hooked phase, if you will. Not yet, if you will. We are just waiting for them to kind of break out maybe mid-season, but so far, not a whole lot to like from the Guelph Royals so far. What do you guys think?
I think there
Well,
was just some. Go ahead, Braden. Go ahead.
oh, yeah. Well, previous episode, I chose, the Guelph London as my game of the week. That definitely didn't live up to the hype. Yeah, that was a dud. Didn't score a run, so kudos to London for showing up home opener with the big crowd there. And Guelph, well, they really didn't silence the crowd at all, so who knows what could happen now.
I think just with the Royals and everything else, they are a team that always traditionally has started slow. They usually look at May as spring training for them because they don't get a lot of chances to go outside. They don't do a lot of indoor work as far as cages and everything else. Because again, there's only one cage in Guelph, but that's soon to be changing. But it's just like it's booked solid with all the Guelph minor baseball teams and everything else. And with a lot of guys not in locally as far as the Royal City goes, it's kind of hard for guys to come in, drive in for a Wednesday night, take batting practice for 2 hours, and then go home again. It's just not going to happen. So you're going to see guys, you're going to get off to a slow start, and then the pitching and everything else is getting adjustment to. It's not like a lot of these guys who they're counting on right now are coming from colleges either. So it's just like, okay, they just haven't thrown the innings yet. They haven't got the work in. So they have, they're doing their work now. So it's going to be almost a month. We'll see how this team is mid-June, early July, and see where they're going. They're going to change. The roster will have a lot of turnover. They always do. Dino, Sean Travers, they always do a good job of filling the gaps, filling the voids here and everything else, and just finding guys that want to play baseball under the Royals' name.
And I think maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but maybe being a little too hard on them in the sense that yes, 0 for 2, only scoring the one run in those two games, and we're talking about a team that made the IBL finals a season ago. So you kind of have, go in with a lot of expectations because of
Mhm.
that result and then end up with the weekend that they did. And quite frankly, probably a little bit too early to sound the alarm for the Guelph
Yeah,
Royals at this
I think
point.
it is early.
And I'm glad you mentioned the ability of not being able to get out and get those reps in at the batting cages and whatnot. Shout out to the War Room. That's going to be opening up in South Guelph this coming fall. So there's going to be a whole lot opening up for uh, local players. I know that the Guelph Minor Baseball Association has signed a 5-year deal to go in there and get some regular reps in those batting cages too. I'd imagine that the Guelph Royals are going to try to get in there as well and get some off-season work in as well. But the Guelph Royals 0-2 so far this season, and still waiting on that first victory for 2025. And like you said, Neil, the traditionally a slow start, but if we're still talking about this in maybe mid-June, then there might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the 8th spot in the power rankings this week, and the team that did not make the playoffs a year ago. Let's turn it to the Brantford Red Sox, 1-2 to start the year. Their big 8-1 victory over those Guelph Royals. 6 hits. They took advantage of 5 errors by the Royals in that game, and for the Brantford Red Sox, those 2 wins just by a margin of 1 run each. So what do you guys make of the Brantford Red Sox in their early going?
Definitely a different energy, different vibe with that team. Even when they were in Hamilton on Friday night and everything else, they weren't. They got to Fernando Rodney in the 8th, 9th inning. Everything else, I think it kind of shocked them, and too at the same time, you just saw the bullpen was all on the bench thinking, okay, this game's over, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden, Hulk hits that home run. You see 3 guys literally running back down to the bullpen, going, "Oh crap, we got to get loose now." So it's just like that, and it's just kind of those kind of mistakes. You kind of go in the mindset a veteran team wouldn't be in that role where it'd be like, okay, yeah, don't look at what's going on in the field. We're still getting ready, like we're going out for the bottom of the 9th inning. That's not a shot against anybody or anything like that. Hey, I get it, guys. You're kind of in that whole moment. It's Fernando Rodney in the moment on the mound too. So I get it. It was just, but it's great to see these guys being scrappy. Great to see these guys, not putting their heads down and realizing, hey, we can still win this ball game. We can come back. We don't have to get 4 in 1 inning here. We can get 1, 2 here and whatever else and do our job.
Yeah, like you said, like they're a scrappy group. They're definitely not the Brantford Red Sox of old.
Yeah.
They'll literally fight to the last out, and it's awesome to see. Then you have another masterpiece by Pedro de la Fuego. I say, but Pedro de los Santos, you know what? Kudos to him. Like, he's shown up and he's ready to perform for this Red Sox team. You know what? I'm not gonna say they were a laughing stock the last couple of years, but you know what? Teams have to take him serious now. Like, it's
exactly. And I think you watched him walk out on the mound. If you've seen the pictures that Crystal's taking, you've seen the pictures that CW's taken, and everything else. He's got the biggest smile on his face. He's loving the game again.
Yeah.
He's loving the game again, and you know what? That is so great to see.
Yeah, it's awesome.
A bit of a swagger circa 2021 from Pedro de los Santos, and Braeden, you'll know a lot more about that than me and Neil do. That's for sure. Do you see a little bit of 2021 Pedro in him so far?
Yeah, you know what? He's going out competing. Some of the new photos I've seen from Crystal, he has some new glasses. So maybe
it was a glasses issue.
maybe he now he's locked in. So 2020 vision, Pedro is back.
Okay,
All right.
I like that.
I like
that. All right, let's move on to the Chatham-Kent Barnstormers, and well, quite frankly, I think the Kitchener Panthers have seen enough of the Chatham-Kent Barnstormers, seeing them 4 times in the last 2 weeks, although only 2 of those games were regular season tilts. That was that home and home. You look at the Barnstormers, they are 1-1, both of those games against the Kitchener Panthers, giving up a 6-1 lead on Sunday. Spencer Marcus, for my money, was probably one of their best players, 5 for 11. But Sadler Goodwin cannot be underscored whatsoever. Made a number of big defensive plays for the Barnstormers in that game. What do you guys make of the Chatham-Kent Barnstormers here so far? And more importantly, they lose the league MVP in Seth Strong. Where do you kind of find that offense? And do you see little early blips of maybe somebody that might be able to pick up where maybe where the league MVP from last season left off?
Well, right now they're also missing Braxton Higgins is still not in the lineup, and I think a couple other pitchers are still missing. So they're going to have a little more depth coming back for sure. Higgins will definitely help take some of the load off Marcus and Spencer Moore, and as far as the offense goes. But yeah, it's a big void. It's never easy to replace anybody, especially not an MVP, anybody that caliber as well. It's just somebody that pitchers have to sit there in the back of the mind and say, okay, if I don't get this guy, I've got Strong 2 batters away here. Okay, I got to get these out somehow. But now it's just like a lot of teams go through this where you only have that one player, and then it's like, okay, pitchers go through that staff. Okay, I'm going to have an easier time if I get past this guy. So we'll see how it goes as far as that stuff goes. And I think they need one more starter. I think Akatsuka yesterday got stuck out there a little too long, and I think it was just Kitchener was able to make some adjustments at the plate against him. And that's not a shot against him. He's just, he's good for probably once or twice for the order, but after that, you got to get him out of there.
Yeah, you know what? This it's an inexperienced team. They're new last year, and then with Strong leaving, you have to have the core guy step up. Spencer Marcus, he's gonna go do things in this game where, especially the younger guys, are gonna look at it and be like, okay, cool, like I want to do that one day. So with him being in that young lineup, I think that can kind of rub off on the younger guys. You get Trent Sillett there. You know what, they can do some stuff, but again, like Mark, you said earlier with Guelph, it might be not too early because they're still expecting guys to come back.
Yep.
But it's just, I think it's way too early to kind of predict where they're going to go with this one this year. And they're young, but they got some fight in them. These guys, you got to get some reinforcements. So
yeah,
it's early.
Yeah, and it's a similar conversation that maybe we might have had a couple of years ago, and we're still in May, plain and simple. We're still in May. There's still a whole lot of baseball to talk about. Don't forget that the Welland Jackfish a couple seasons ago, I believe, started 3-3 en route to an IBL championship. So you never know.
Never know.
All right. Let's move on to Christie Pitts. The Toronto Maple Leafs take the 6th spot in the IBL Power Rankings this week. I'm going to say a couple of names and leave it to you guys. Ayami Sato and Jordan Castaldo. Two players that really stuck out to me this week. Ayami Sato, of course, getting her 2nd career start in the IBL, and Jordan Castaldo a little bit closer to history, guys.
That he is. And with Ayami Sato and everything else, I think she knew coming into this game she was going to have to pitch against some really good hitters, whereas Kitchener, a lot younger, a lot more inexperienced, she was able to get a lot of guys to chase curveballs, off-speed pitches, working with her strength, whereas, you're going to you're facing a guy like Kaiden Cardoso, Byron Reichstein, Edward DeOlio, guys they're used to seeing this stuff. They're going to sit and wait for you to throw that pitch, and then they're going to hit it a mile. And that's what they did.
Yeah, it's I tuned into that game just because of obviously personal reasons, but I feel like she really just, every pitch was almost down the middle, and
she was trying to hit the middle and just hope for them.
Literally, the guys on the majors were really just sitting there. They basically they knew it was coming. Like it wasn't going to trick them. So caps off to those guys. They really took advantage of that. And then Castaldo, what can you say? The guy has literally
an absolute legend. Absolute
legend. Yeah, like comes up in a big spot where more or less he has to perform. And what does he do? He hits a game-tying home run.
Yep.
And I know the Bushmen were probably loving that because I saw the stories. So, yeah. It was a mixed bag that day, and from what I noticed, because I'm stickler on the details, the flags were absolutely going to left field.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Oh yeah, the wind was everywhere yesterday. It was just like, okay, yeah, this is not going to wreak havoc. But yes, Castaldo now 99 home runs on his career. He'll be the 4th guy in IBL history to hit that 100 plateaus. So 107-year-old league, only 4 guys have done it. So. You know what? You can't say anything else. He's now 4th all time in RBIs. He's gonna probably get to 500 this year, and then only 3 other people have done that in this league too. So that's why we wanted Jordan Castaldo back for one more shot at this thing, and just you can etch that name beside these other guys, and maybe go had a few other guys on this list, and it's so great to see him do it, and all the best to him.
I know we have an IBL 100 that was put in a few years back to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the league. But if there was an IBL Hall of Fame, Jordan Castaldo has etched his name many, many years ago, and he just continues to add to his legend.
No question. Yeah, I remember when he broke in with the Oshawa Dodgers. That's how far back I go, but that's beside the point.
2008.
2008, yeah. Him and Marcus connect.
Mm-hmm.
That team. If they were playing anywhere else but Oshawa's Diamond, they probably have legendary status. But that's beside the point. It's just places of tank. You gotta hit tanks to get at that baseball's into that park.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, let's move on to a team that I'm very familiar with. I got to see them a couple of times this past week. The Kitchener Panthers rocketing up from 8th to 5th this week in the power rankings. Comeback victory, down 6-1 against the Chatham-Kent Barnstormers on Sunday, and end up getting a big 11-10 victory in that one. 5 home runs, but the thing that really stuck out to me is despite being down 6-1, still really, sticking into it. And one of the big strengths that are really starting to really rear its head is a guy like Andy Vargas. 11 strikeouts, and overall the Kitchener Panthers leading the IBL. Their pitching staff 34 strikeouts in their first 3 games, en route to a 2-1 record. What do you guys think of the Kitchener Panthers in the first 3 games of the 2025 season?
Definitely still showing their youth here and stuff, and you guys getting used to the league. You can see it. There's still some times and everything else where just like things aren't quite right. But and then again, tip your cap to them. Like I was watching the scoreboard from Hamilton. I'm going, okay, all right, it's a typical Sunday afternoon. Kitchener's getting their butts handed to them, and then you look at it, it's like, whoa, okay, they're coming back in this thing, and then bang, they had the lead, and it's like, okay, these guys are starting to get it together again. They're using their own ballpark to their advantage finally.
Yeah, home run's a big one. So, yeah, Jack Couch is not, again, like we said in previous episodes, that it's not the most friendly ballpark for opposing teams. So, and it always seems the last couple of years where it doesn't matter what team, home away, if you start hitting the ball out, it just starts rolling. Like it's on to the next, on to the next.
Well, we saw you guys do that one game, and that was just absolute. Mark and I were upstairs. I'm like going
8 home runs.
8 home runs. It was just like the Ole had 4, I think. Joseph had 2. Brownlee had 1. It was just like he threw the bat. I've never seen Brownlee throw the bat like that. It was just like, watch this one.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, right? Like, and even like it's a young team, so like if you can get some kind of confidence by hitting the ball out in a user-friendly ballpark, you want to just keep going with it. It's just like it's passing baton on to the next guy. So you want to keep doing what they're doing. Again, very young and very early in the year. So what I think they're very placed accurately. Like they're not. Again, they're not 3-0. So here we are.
Exactly. I think Saturday night I think the long bus ride got to them and everything else. The hoop and hoopla for Chatham-Kent and everything else. It seemed like it was a very long and drawn out opening ceremony again too, just because they like to put on a show out there. I get it, and it just felt like it was really long and drawn out. I was just like, okay, these poor guys have been on the field since like 5:30, and it was a 6:05 start or something. It was just standing around doing nothing for half an hour when they usually were used to getting the getting their reps in, getting some hacks in, playing pepper, doing fungos, something down the line. So it was just like none of that was going on. So it's kind of took their winds out of their sails, and it's like, okay, then we got to go play baseball, and we're cold.
Yeah.
It was a little chilly on Sunday too, but I'm glad you mentioned Saturday's game too, Neil, because there is that turnaround that you have to think about for Sunday as well. Playing at in the evening on Saturday and then turning around. Oh, you got to get right back to Kitchener on Sunday afternoon to play a 2:00 game. So no rest for the wicked between those two teams, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a weird quirk in the schedule.
I wonder if any of those teams, Kitchener or Chatham, if the starter for the next day stayed home. I'm curious.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so, but you never know. They probably didn't listen to your words of wisdom there, because I would have definitely taken it up on it. So you know what, you go. Actually, even you know what, you put the guy up in the hotel in the other part that night before. So you know what, you're staying here tonight. At least we know you got here. You got rested. You don't show up to the park till 12:30 or whatever. Get loose for a 2:00 start.
Dom, Harry, let's get on the phone here and give us the
Guarantee I'll get a tabernacle and a couple other things for choice words from the Frenchman, but that's okay.
That's awesome.
Do we have to put a censor on that now? Because I know some
no, we should be all right.
French speakers do listen to this podcast.
I don't usually swear on the air, but I swear in French. Okay, go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good.
Uh,
It's our product anyway. If we want to drop a
Yeah.
few F-bombs and S-bombs, it is what it is. But
Oh,
so
don't
far it's
use
pretty
that one.
clean.
We're pretty clean. We're behaving ourselves. As soon as we stop recording, mind you, Adele flies out, but that's okay. They don't need to know.
Exactly. Whatever's said off the air is said off the air. It is what it
Yeah,
is. We
exactly.
have our thoughts and
Exactly.
our opinions.
Yep.
All right, next up, the Hamilton Cardinals, a team that Neil is very familiar with. Bullpen of strength, a 6-0 loss to Welland, but a 9-8 walk-off win against the Brantford Red Sox. Hamilton 1-1. Last week ranked second, now in fourth this week. Neil, what did you see out of the Hamilton Cardinals the last 7 days?
So Friday night seemed the approach to the plate was much better, I think, than it was Sunday. I think the approach Sunday, they were just not sure what to do with Lair and what his two pitches. So they just weren't sure how to feel at the box. They just seemed out of sync. Everything else just not good as far as the approach of the plate. It was just not quite where it needs to be and everything else. I got a shout out to Mama Salazzo because the sauce is here.
Yes.
Oh,
I got it
Sent me
hand
a picture
delivered
the
to me
other day,
yesterday.
and I'm
So
like, yes.
yeah. So the sauce is here, and I can't wait to try that. So we'll have to probably maybe we'll have to stop in and at Hastings and do a special delivery on Saturday or something before pre-day snack for Mark here or something. We'll have to see.
dang.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting back to the topic at hand, it was just like, okay, so Friday night Owen Boone started. First inning, he had the first inning yips. Let's just say it that way. It was the yips, and then he got the defense had some yips too because again, it's hard. That ball from third base to first base on any throws, especially that time of night where that sun is going down right behind the parking lot and everything else, it's impossible to see it. We almost have to start at 8 o'clock on Friday night. We just because the sun is where it is. It's a sun thing, and it's hard. And then Rempel was struggling with the baseball again. Not to put him out, everybody was fighting the baseball on it looked like the infield a little bit anyways. Some balls that got through and thrown around, bounced across, things like that. But they recovered. They got the offense going. They got to the ninth inning. They gave up the lead. And then, you know what? Last year, they would have just said, okay, that's over. We're going to lose this one now. But to those guys' credit, in the ninth inning, at the bottom of the ninth inning, they rallied together. They got something going. Tommy Reyes Cruz, eighth inning, huge knock. Great to see that guy getting a chance to play some baseball, too.
Yeah. And I'd like to give a special shout out to my preseason dark horse on the Friday night walk-off, Josh Williams.
Yeah.
He's there. That ball was crushed.
Yes.
So it's good to see. It's good to see.
And he hit one yesterday pretty hard too, but it was like with the wind and everything else, it was right at the left fielder. It was like, okay. And the wind's going the wrong direction, so it's just instead of going over the fence a mile, it's coming back into the park the wrong way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tommy Reyes Cruz, 2 for 6 in his first 2 outings. Salazzo, you already mentioned, 2 for 7 to start off his Hamilton Cardinals career. Yeah, Hamilton Cardinals, 4th spot in the IBL power rankings this week. We move to 3rd, and the defending IBL champion, Barrie Baycats, have dropped their first 2 games of the season. Similar to Guelph, maybe it's a little too early to sound the alarm, but at the very least, I don't really think there's too much panic in Barrie Baycat
There's
land. What do you guys make?
there's no reason to panic at all with this team and everything else. It's just you look at Thursday night and it's like that was a winnable ball game. It was like the pitching was lined up properly. You had your starter go out there. Juan Benitez goes out there, and then you're handing the baseball off to Frank Garces, and he just goes out there and casually throws up 13 strikeouts. Casually.
No big deal.
No big deal. And then it's just because, the offense isn't quite going yet because the guys are, again, it boils down to getting reps in actual live pitching and everything else. They had the one exhibition game and against the Thornhill Reds. And it's just, it's not the same level. It's not IBL pitching facing against you and everything else. I think they actually had some of their junior players pitching against them at some point in that tune-up game too. So it's just like you can, the bats weren't quite going, and then of course they have to get on the bus and go to Welland on a Saturday night. And you're facing Ben Abrams, and you're facing 3,234 very hostile environment pond fans, fanatics. And it's just like, it's not going to be an easy place to win on a good day.
No, it's just again, like I've said with that couple other teams, it's early, but there's no panic there. It's Josh Matlow will have those guys in fine form in a couple weeks, probably. I'm assuming.
And I've got to acknowledge Ryan Rio because he casually in that little media presser declared himself for the home run derby, and then of course I called him out Friday night. I did.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't declare and not do anything about it. So what's the guy do in the third inning? It's a home run, and I was just waiting for him to be pointing at the camera because I knew exactly what was going to happen. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, it's just like that team is too good to be stressing at this time of the year.
They're not going to be.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't scare me at all. They don't phrase. There's no alarm bells going off here. It's just guys working out the early season kinks here.
Yeah, they honestly once they start getting everything going, like watch out because they'll be on a roll.
Yeah.
And even that, like side note, like have you guys seen their new rings?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we've seen them up close.
Mm-hmm.
I think they went like this and modeled them in front of me for 2 different interviews. So I'm just like, yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah, those are thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they spared no expense on those rings, and
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That's to the victors go the spoils of war, and that's exactly what they are. They earned them, and oh golly, if I ever got a chance to get one of those things, dang right, I'm gonna get something big, bling bling. Never gonna wear it, but it's gonna sit somewhere nicely on a desk, and when I'm doing a video call, I'm gonna pull it out like Cleveland did and pull both of them out. I mean, I'm sorry, you couldn't see because of the glare.
Yeah. Yeah.
so the Patrick Waugh route. Sorry,
Yeah,
I can't.
sorry,
hear
can't
you. I
hear.
got 2 rings in my ear.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Well, let's move on to the London Majors. Second place in the power rankings this week. 3 players with 7 hits, including Kaiden Cardoso. Cardoso 7 for 15 in the first few games, 8 RBI, but 6 strikeouts. He has struck out 6 times so far, but the London Majors are 3-0 so far this year. What do you guys
He's
make?
They're 3-0. Cardoso doesn't have a single. Everything he's hit's been extra base hits. Let's just put that there. Let's start there. I don't know how big that chip is, but I think it's elephant size, like Dumbo the elephant size. That's how big this chip is on his shoulder right now. He is telling people he's just like they made a mistake. Like this is the Cardoso I'm going to show you. Bleep bleep bleeps.
Yeah, and he'll tell you that too. To break
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. You know what? They're good. They're going to be good. I'm glad the offense has shown up.
Yeah.
I spoke to Diolio actually on Thursday with Piano, Jose, and others. And I just straight up told Diolio, hey, like, can you just hit a home run? Can you just do it one time for me? What did you do? Yeah. Gets him out. So super cool. I will say they could have been 2-1 if it wasn't for an unsung hero.
Yep.
Colby Ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You get your dues when it's there. That game was ugly in Toronto,
Yep,
for both sides. Both sides was absolutely horrendous. But without Colby Ring, the Majors don't win that game. That's just pretty clear as day.
That's the guy that had to come in there, and it's just like, okay, you got to throw strikes, you got to get out, you got to just get us through an inning here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
any way you can.
Yeah, and then he was just flipping the curveballs in there one after the other, and I was just watching it, and I was like, are they just not going to adjust, Toronto? And it was just like, it kind of like stumped me, but you know what? Hey, if it's working, just keep doing it. Yeah. So kudos to him.
I think going back, just because I forgot to bring it when we were talking about the Leafs, it's just like I put it in the notes here as far as everything else. The team looking for an identity, because in the years past, they've always had these big boppers that you're going to go to Christie Pitch, you're going to have to face these 4 guys in this lineup that are all capable of hitting moonshots off it. And now it's like, okay, now you've got the Dennis to the Bannings and everything. I love Dennis to death. He's a great guy, but he's not going to hit you 17 home runs in a season. If he does, hey, I'll be the first one to go shake his hand.
Yeah, it was just, it's they're not the team. It is what it is. But kudos to the Majors. Pulled out some 3 wins here on the young season. yeah, Colby Ring, caps off to you, bud. Good job.
Well said, guys. I don't really have much else to add to that. Let's move up to the top spot in the IBL power rankings this week, and no surprise whatsoever. It wasn't going to take them long to move up this list based on the talent that they have on that roster. Abram and Lair, lights out for the Welland Jackfish. 2-0 start to the season, outscoring their opposition 15-3. What do you guys make of the Welland Jackfish this week?
Well, I was talking to Brian Ezra yesterday before the game. He was just like, he was asking, I was like, how many wins you got us and everything else? And going, you're not going to get 30 this year. And he's like, that's valid. He doesn't see anybody in this league getting to 30 this year because that's how much the talent level is now spread out more. Guys are taking it seriously. Teams are not going to be, they're not going to be pushover teams in this league anymore. So okay. Yeah. So that's where we start with those guys. And then you see what they did as far as the rotation goes. And I gotta pull the numbers up here because I don't want to misquote something and get a text message from somebody else. Because this gentleman will go to town on me. We know who he is. I'm not saying his name, but he knows who he is.
It's a good strategy.
Yes. So the starting rotation. This is without the one guy in it too. Without Jose Dominguez in this. So the starting rotations as well in Jackfish. 33 wins, 11 losses. 325 and 2/3 innings pitched. This was going into this season. 356 strikeouts, 104 walks, 283 hits, a 2.47 ERA, a 1.19 WHIP. So that's the starting rotation for the Welland Jackfish. Just process that part. And by the way, Ben Abrams, James Bradwell, Theodore Ortega, Euclid Lair. Those are the four guys. And then you got this Jose Dominguez guy that's going to come out of the bullpen. He's going to hand the ball off to Davey.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, if it's anything like it was yesterday, Davey can just go out there and throw fastballs because that's what he did.
Oh, yeah. Like, the key, for me at least, from the pitching side of it, it's just they're pounding the strike zone. And, like, it's different like for an opposing team to sit there and wait for a strike to happen. But if it's just constantly there and you're not adjusting, it's going to be a long day at the plate.
Well, that's what I think was going on yesterday, too, because Lair only has 2 pitches, guys. And it's like – and they were just sitting there going – he was pounding the strike zone. He was absolutely pounding the strike zone. I think he had 2 walks. Gave him 2 walks. And it was just like Hamilton couldn't adjust to it. I'm not sure what was going on behind the mindset and everything else, but guys were just like looking at the umpire going, you're calling that? I'm like, yeah, he's calling it. Yeah. Deal with it.
And even his arm slot, where the ball gets released, that's tough to pick up anyway. Yeah. So if you're trying to guess at what pitch is coming, that you're already behind on that one, and then trying to figure out where the ball is getting released, like good luck as a hitter. Like it's just you're already. I can't even swear online. But,
we've had this conversation already.
Yeah, already.
You're already at a tight position. We'll just leave it at that.
It's a tough go. Go.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right, boys. That's 1 through 9, the power rankings this week. Once again, it goes Welland, London, Barrie, Hamilton, Kitchener, Toronto, Chatham, Kent, Brantford, and the Guelph Royals. Anything else that we may have missed with any of these 9 teams that we saw this past week in the IBL?
I think just the batting wise, we didn't really touch on the bats for the Jackfish and everything else, but you got some guys that are they're figuring things out in a hurry here as far as stuff goes. You got our friend Mr. Sanford playing third base right now, which is just hilarious. It's just because it's just like he hadn't played there since junior college. But then he goes out and makes a crazy play in the 6th inning against the Barrie Baycats. I'm just like, okay, yeah, like it doesn't faze this guy. And you got Grayson Barrett out there, and he's just Grayson Barrett hitting monster shots. And you got Josh Marchese last night as well. It's just like he almost put 2 out. He went out with authority. The other one just thankfully went foul because the wind pushed it foul. But still, it was just like, yeah, these guys are going to be tough as far as hitters go.
Yep. Yeah, and special shout out to Gio Morello too. 5 for 8, a 625 average in the first 2 games.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I'm waiting for that text message. Once the player of the week's come out, why didn't he not so and so get in there? Well, simple, because
tough go.
It's tough.
All right, guys, we are going to get to the aforementioned players and pitcher and player of the week because there's only one award to each. Although we could give two based on what has transpired this past week, but we're just going to limit to one. We're going to start off slow this week, but we're going to get to that and a whole lot more on the other side of the break here. Stay with us. You are listening and watching the IBL Inside Pitch.
Hi there, guys. Mark Pare here from the IBL Inside Pitch. I'm kind of a nostalgia nut. I kind of need to freshen up this look too, and the IBL has me covered, and they'll have you covered as well. Get your hands on some exclusive IBL merch of some teams from yesteryear, whether it's the Waterloo Tigers, how about the St. Thomas Elgins, the Guelph Terriers, the Guelph Seajoys. Every bit of merch is available, whether it is long sleeves, short sleeves, hoodies, hats, you name it. You can check out the link right in our bio. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll send out the link as well on Spotify and Apple in those descriptions. But get your hands on some exclusive IBL merchandise now.
Welcome back to the IBL Inside Pitch. Neil, Braden, and Mark here with you, and we are going to get right into it. The player and the pitcher of the week. We have a little bit of intel.
They just came in.
Yeah.
So we're not supposed to release it till 9:00 on Tuesday, which we're by the league rules and everything else. We're playing by the rules.
Yeah,
But the release just came out, so it's just we don't air till 9:00, so it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
The league post will be out, so we're good.
Right, Neil. Who do we have for the player and the pitcher of the week?
Well, congratulations go to Kaiden Cardoso of the London Majors for being the HRD Bats Player of the Week. 7 for 15 on the week, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 1.900 OPS.
Is that good?
It's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I see that guy in the box. I'm like, you just figure a way to get around him.
Mm-hmm. Well, like we talked about before, chip on that shoulder, it's Dumbo sized.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Does not matter. Yeah. Of course, then we got to go with the pitcher of the week. Of course, we got to salute Pedro de los Santos. De los Santos on fuego, that's for sure. 12 innings pitched, a 1-0 year, a 1-0 record, 1 earned run, 5 hits allowed, 13 strikeouts, 4 walks, a 0.75 WHIP. Opponents are batting 128 against him. So Pedro's on fire, and I hope the fire stays burning all year.
I hope it
burns always. Throw a little CM Punk in there. Why not? All right. Well, congratulations to Kaiden Cardoso and Pedro de los Santos, for getting the honors for week number 1 in the IBL for pitcher and player of the week. Well, anything else to unload in the mailbag, boys?
I think we've covered all the bases. Of course, the league's merch shop is officially launched, and I've been surprised with what's been selling. It's just kind of like, okay. Some of the stuff I thought would sell hasn't moved and everything else. Other stuff was like, oh, they actually like that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah, I think a cool maybe item that could be out there is like renderings of every stadium.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
That's cool. Yeah. The historians of the league would appreciate it.
I think so. Yeah, and we've got some ideas for some coffee mugs with featuring some players from yesteryear and everything else, because I did make up a whole bunch of baseball cards, like stuff like that, stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's just because it was a baseball card, and I'm going, well, I didn't do the backs, I only did the fronts, so it's like, okay, I could do the backs and make them in the cards, but then again, it's like, where am I going to get them printed and everything else, and how many of these things we're going to have to eat, where it's just how the league store is set up with their on-demand printing as far as these things go. So somebody likes it, wants to buy it, they'll print it. So it's great as far as that stuff goes. We don't have to worry about inventory. I don't have to worry about a truckload of things we're never going to sell sitting in somebody's closet somewhere. So we're okay.
Well, I mean, you can always be like Kitchener and throw them in like this big truck, essentially, that they have. This big, it's like a sea can that they've brought into Jack Couch Park now with all the merch inside of it. So yeah, if you're ever at Jack Couch Park, there's a whole lot of merch to buy there. That's for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, I think all the teams now do have their own merch shops and everything else. The Royals were the last ones to jump on the boat, so they've got some stuff now. So you guys want to buy some merch, you know, you can definitely hit up your local teams if you're looking for some more vintage stuff. That's what the league was carrying as far as that stuff goes. We went back to some teams that obviously don't exist anymore. So we'll see how it goes and everything else. And it's just great to see some people show some interest, and then immediately we need this team, we need that team, and everything else. And trust me, I've got designs sitting on my hard drive right now. It's just like, yeah, it's just like, okay, we got a chance to whatever go through in these things, and it's like it doesn't quite feel right. So I've been playing with some of them, but it's just like, again, we didn't want to touch teams that are active as well, because it's up to them really as far as that stuff goes, unless they give us permission to, like in the case of the Royals, so go ahead and take on the Guelph Seajoys if you wanted to. So we did. As far as that stuff goes, again, it's just some throwbacks to the 1970s as well as far as that stuff goes. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. We do want to wrap up on kind of a somber note. Unfortunately, a couple of losses in the IBL family. Guys, I'll let you guys take care of both of those that we do want to send our condolences out to.
Oh, exactly. We want to start with condolences to Ann Chamberlain, who's been a longtime fan of the IBL, huge Brentford Red Sox fan, but she's just she also is the caretaker of the IBL fan group on Facebook and everything else. So she's stepping away. Her husband Paul tragically passed away last Sunday. We were recording. The news came out once we were recording last Monday night, so it kind of looked like I was off a little bit here, off in the distance. It kind of hit me hard too. But I've known Ann for many years, and my heart goes out to her and her family right now, as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah. It's unfortunate news to hear from Ann. She's been basically a league staple for everybody. So I think everyone that's been in the league for probably more than 2 years knows who Ann is. So it's an unfortunate, tragic time right now for anyone that really knows her. So yeah, hopefully the league can do something with her. I think going forward it'd be kind of cool because she's been around the league a long time. So
Yes, she has.
Yes, she has. And Braeden, if you can maybe touch on the other loss this week.
Yeah. Condolences to Hayden Jaco. His mother passed away. I texted him, I guess technically it was airs 2 days ago, passing on my condolences just because we're really good friends and we won a championship together. So it's not always easy reaching out. So Hayden, he got the news before the Welland game and played through it. So that's a testament on all of its own right there on his type of character. So he's a very emotional person, loved the guy to death. So the fact that he went out there and kind of honored her that way, I respect that a lot. And I know she's looking down on him with a big smile on her face, and I couldn't express my words to him enough. So good for him to do that.
Absolutely. Definitely our thoughts go out to the Jaco and the Chamberlain family and everybody else that knew that know the families and are kind of suffering through all of this right now and going through the grieving process. Well, guys, this has been great. As we're recording this on an afternoon. We're usually doing this on Monday night, but I have a lacrosse game that I have to call because I do call Six Nations Chiefs lacrosse, and normally it's on Tuesdays, but it's bread and cheese day, so we get to go down there and raise a Man Cup banner, and kind of takes up my time. So I'm glad that you guys were able to make some time in your schedules to do this on a Victoria Day afternoon. And
No problems.
thank you all for joining us here this week. We'll be back same time, same channel. Stay with us. This is the IBL Inside Pitch. We will see you next week.